We're back to discuss Tully, and yeah, I mean, my problems with the movie are really that it the story just kind of the pacing's really bad, really bad.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah.
Like it can't quite decide if it's going to treat the Tully character as this sort of magical, fantastical thing.
Yeah.
Which is kind of how it's set up with like the brother-in-law and like him paying for it and all of this kind of stuff. Like they're said, and he has like this sort of almost hyper parenting thing going on with like the guardian of his kids that's bizarre and like I forget what her name is, but it was like Zephyr or something crazy like that. And they introduced the Tully character, and like, so I had seen that it was Mackenzie Davis that was in the part, and I like her a lot. I'd seen the scene where Charlize Theron says she's empty, and Mackenzie Davis is like, "No, I mean you're empty. The baby's done on that side."
God.
Like all of those things were in the trailer. The trailer made it look a lot funnier than it is. And I also, like, as soon as they hit the water, I put it together that Tully wasn't a real person.
Yeah, and I didn't make that connection. The mermaid sort of motif.
Yeah, I mean, I think they pulled that off fairly well. It's just that there was so much stuff that was shot, like scenes where they were like in a stairwell at the school and like people like were cut off from the eyes. Just really, it felt like they needed to do some more takes, or they needed some better cinematography, or they needed to shoot it on a set a little bit more or whatever. But like so much of the movie is just the two of them talking. And so it's so bizarre that it has this really claustrophobic, messed up feeling to it. The whole scene where they dress Mackenzie Davis, where they dress Tully up as like the waitress and take her upstairs.
Yeah.
Which goes absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
And then with the inside of the end of the movie, it's like, so did Charlize Theron just put it on and go upstairs?
That's where I think must have happened.
But it's like, as a viewer, when you're watching that scene, it's like, so they're going to have a threesome?
Right, that
and then
was
they're not
kind
going to
of
talk about
that
it?
was kind of where the like overnight thing lost me. Like, so all of a sudden you're going to have your night nanny sleep with your husband, but it's never going to come up again?
Yeah, well, and that woman she ran into in the beginning of the movie, Violet, who they went looking for.
Right.
So they had some kind of a relationship.
Yes.
And so there's those implications too, that like she's kind of falling for Tully. She's falling for Mackenzie Davis's character. And so yeah, she's inviting her up to the bedroom and they're wearing this waitress outfit. And like that whole scene just felt completely out of place with everything else that was going on in the movie at that point. It was just one of those but why?
Right.
Why do this? And then to have it be something that you think back on at the end and go, oh, I see what they were doing. You know, she wasn't literally there, but...
Well, and then the at the end when they're in the bar, although they're not really, and she gets engorged and Tully comes into the bathroom with her, it sort of seemed like they were trying to imply that was a sexual...
I didn't get that.
No, you didn't get that? Okay.
No, I didn't feel like that.
Okay.
It was just more of like it was more of more support of she just kind of preternaturally knows what she needs.
What she needs.
And so like it hurts at first, but then she kind of gets through it or whatever. But yeah, like so every one of those like plot beats, it's like you almost have to. It's one of those things where, like, if I watched it again, I wonder if I would have as much trouble with it, because my brain just kept trying to put the story together, and it just wouldn't give me enough story to follow. It was just a series of scenes that didn't seem to be going in a particular direction. There wasn't any kind of real, like, her son is like troubled, and that never goes anywhere. I mean, probably the best scene in the movie is like the last 90 seconds when she has that talk with him. And he hugs her. Like,
yes.
And they chose that as like this, you know, tearjerker ending thing. But, like, it felt like the ending to a different movie. You know what I mean? Like, that was like this sort of side thing that was happening, and...
Yeah, so the most developed relationship in the movie is the spoiler alert, the one between Charlize Theron and Tully, who's herself.
It's
in
herself.
The past.
Yeah, it's herself. Like 15 years ago.
Right. So her relationship with her husband is fairly superficial. Her relationship with her children comes across as superficial until the end, and even the relationship with Mia, the baby, is relatively superficial because she's using Tully to...
Well, she's just completely tuned out.
Right.
And then the idea that, and see, this is another place where like it doesn't work for me. They have this montage at the end of her doing all the things that Tully did, like making the cupcakes and all of that kind of stuff. That would have worked better, I think, if we had seen Tully do those things.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just sort of like, you know, we don't need the montage on top of all of this.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We just kind of saw like what the result of everything was.
I also, the more I think about it, then I don't like it as a commentary on postpartum depression. You know, she didn't get help. She just sort of started to hallucinate or whatever Tully was, and then she magically got better without ever telling her husband that she was struggling, without ever...
Well, no, I mean, the thing that got her better was that she nearly died.
Right.
And her husband snapped out of
right.
his funk and started being helpful again.
Yeah.
And so they were sharing an iPod and listening and making sandwiches.
Making lunches together. Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I mean, I think it's like that. The last 90 seconds of the movie is a great ending for a different movie.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I feel about it. Anyway.
You may have persuaded me. I didn't like it as much as I thought I did.
Yeah.
All right.
But that's our discussion. If you like the way we do these, please like the video, subscribe, check out all the written and video reviews at dalemaxfield.com, and thanks for watching.